Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. Today I'm going to show you how to paint these beautiful Amelanchier flowers. They've been blooming for the last week or two, and excuse me, these are a very early spring blooming understory tree here in Northwest Connecticut. And they're so beautiful, so lacy, so gorgeous, and I just had to take a minute to paint them before they disappeared. I'm Leslie Watkins, and I'm here today to show you how to make something beautiful. So for this project, I'm going to make a greeting card, and I'm using one of the brand new in colors from Stampin' Up! This one is called Pecan Pie. I've got a card base and envelope, and I've gone ahead and I've cut out a mat to coordinate with the ink. And then I've got my paper with a beautiful deckled edge, and I've got a couple of tags here that I can use for my sentiment. These are the dies that I use to cut that beautiful deckled edge. They're called deckled rectangles, and I use these quite a lot. I think these are a really wonderful thing to have in your toolbox. And for the sentiment, I have chosen this one, For Always Believing in Me, and this is from a brand new stamp set called Timeless Arrangements, and it also has a set of dies that is bundled with it. So let's get started. I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see better. There we go. And for my ink, I'm just using the lid of my stamp pad. Well, I don't want to close it. Let me get that there. So there's my ink, and I'm using a water painter. This is a brush that has the reservoir in the handle. And I've also got a number 2 pencil. So I'm just going to check my settings before I begin to make sure you can see and hear me all right. And that looks good. And I see Ginger. Hi, Ginger. It's been a little while since we've seen you on here. I hope everything's going well. So the first thing I want to do is get my design on my page. And I do want to leave a little bit of room for the sentiment. So that's going to go in here someplace. So let's grab one of these beautiful flowers, and now I'll give you a close-up so you can see what that looks like. If you'd like to follow along with me, you are welcome to take a screenshot, if I can get this in the camera so you can see it all right. I'm going to be painting it going off in this direction. So that's what the leaves look like. As you can see, they're just beginning to emerge. The flowers come a little before the leaves do, which is what makes it look so spectacular. And the petals, each flower has 5 petals, and then it's got this kind of a radiating star-shaped center with all of the anthers and the stamen. So let's see if maybe you can see it better without the white behind it. There we go. All right. Let's get our paper back. And I just want to, I think I'll do this one. All right. So I'm going to have the stem sort of going diagonally across the paper, and I'll add a few leaves. And I'm not going to do every single flower. I'm just going to design a few in strategic places. All right, so here we go. In just a few minutes, with just a couple of quick sketches. You don't have to draw every single thing. The main reason is just to make sure that you have your arrangement or your composition as you want it on your page. And then what I'll do is I'll continue to draw with my brush once I get myself organized here. Okay, I think that's enough to get started. I know it's a little hard for you to see that right now because it's so light, but you will be able to see something in just a minute. So I'm going to get my, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat today. Just sketching with my brush, as if it were a pencil. And if you're interested in doing more of this sort of thing, I have a workshop that's open right now called Beginning Watercolor Sketching, where I go into how to get set up, how to begin, and much, much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, please go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and sign up for notes. And when you sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, you will be notified whenever a new watercolor workshop, a paper crafting class, a journal making workshop, or a special event comes up, and you'll be able to register through that link. So please remember to register for notes. I should say subscribe to notes from Dandelion Cottage to be on top of everything. Okay, now what I want to do is, because these are white flowers, I'm going to put a little bit of a tonal background behind them, just to make them a little bit easier to see. And the main thing is I want the overall look to be very simple, very delicate, because these flowers are just so sweet, and I don't want the painting to kind of overpower the natural beauty of the flowers. So I just want to keep it nice and simple. And as you can see, you don't need a lot to get started. I'm sure everybody has a pencil somewhere in their craft room, and a little piece of paper, just one ink, and a brush, and off you go. All right, now I want to start to get a little more detail. I'm just going to add some veins to the leaves, just kind of indicating them. The stem has lots of little bumps and nubs on it. I can go back into my flower shapes and get those a little more refined. Pick out some of those petals. Now you can see it's running a little bit over here, and that's okay. It's just it needs a minute to dry, so I'll just let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm just going to put this aside for a minute. I'll zoom you out. And I'm using Very Vanilla for my card base. I'm not sure if I said that earlier. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of my Pecan Pie mat, and I'm really loving the new in colors. I'm going to be using them quite a bit coming up. Get that centered on my card. Now I strongly recommend that you have a bone folder. I use my bone folder all the time. It's a indispensable tool for doing all sorts of jobs with paper crafting. They're very inexpensive and they just work beautifully for distributing the glue and making everything lay down nice and flat. Okay, and let me get my stamping done. So I've got a little deckled frame that I made, that I customized by cutting it a little bit shorter, so I had more of this squarish shape. And because I've never used this stamp before, I'm going to do a little test run with it. That looks good. And let's see if we can get this straight on here. You know I'm not very good at getting things straight, but we'll give it a go. There we go, that looks very nice. So there's my sentiment. And this is really just about the size of a postage stamp. It's very tiny, very sweet. And I have a hole punch. This is a retired hole punch, but it's really tiny. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a hole in the upper left corner. And then I'm going to get out my linen thread. So I have some little pieces in here. I have to keep these pieces of thread inside this little box because otherwise Sophia will find them and run away with them or swallow one, and that would be not good. So I'm very careful to put everything away where she can't get them. For those of you who are new, Sophia is my kitten cat. She's actually getting really big now. I can't believe how fast she grew. And so she is a frequent visitor to my craft area, so I always have to make sure that everything's put away so that she doesn't get into it. She thinks everything is a game. Maybe that's not a bad attitude. All right, so there is my cute little sentiment. And I'm just going to tie that on there. And actually, I think what I want to do is get my needle back out again. Because I'm going to actually stitch this onto the card. So I'm just going to get that ready to go. Whoops, bad threading job. There we go. All right, so let's see. So my picture is a little bit drier now, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the last details. And I'm just going to add a couple of touches to my flowers. Put some in the background. Get the centers of the flowers. And there we go. Missed a spot right here. Okay. All right, so there's my little quick sketch. I think it took about 10 minutes or so to do, not a lot of time. And now, get my piercing mat back out again and see if I can find my piercing tool. So I want my sentiment to go right about here. So I've added 2 holes. I'm just going to pull my thread through. This is the linen thread, and I'm so happy it carried over into the new catalog because I use this stuff like crazy. Not only is it great for embellishing cards and for looping through your tags, but it's also perfect for making your signatures for your journals. And so I use it quite a bit, and it's very inexpensive. Okay, so I've got my 2 tails. I'll get you a little bit closer. I've got my 2 tails on top now, so I'm just going to make a little knot. Okay, and I'm going to tie a tiny bow. Very tiny. So there's what it looks like so far. Now I also have these really cute 23, 25 in color dots. So let me see if I want to use one of these. Here are all the colors, the new in colors. So you've got Pebbled Path, Wild Wheat, Moody Mauve, Pecan Pie. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. The pecan. This is not pecan pie. This is the what is it called? Copper clay. I'm mistaken. The pecan pie is actually one of the new foundation colors. Okay, so we had a color retire, which was the soft suede, which I'm very sorry to see go, but it was replaced with this gorgeous pecan pie, which I like quite a bit. So I'm glad I caught that mistake so I could clear that up. So this is going to be one of the core colors to the neutral family. I'm just adding a little bit of glue around the edge, not too much, and I'm not getting too close to the edges. And then I'm just going to get that situated. Move it up a little bit. And again, using my bone folder to make sure I don't have any lumps. Go all the way around. And there it is. So there's a beautiful little sketchy card that you could do with your inks and a water painter. Just get outside, take a look and see what's blooming in the garden or the park, or maybe you have a florist nearby and you can go pick yourself a little bouquet and have a lot of fun making these beautiful cards and then share them with your friends. So remember, please, to subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage. I will place the link below this video so that you can be notified of the upcoming workshops. And if you're interested in the beginning watercolor sketching workshop, that's opened right now, and I'd love to have you join us. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.